And tonight, the nationwide criminal purge as hundreds of police and military personnel supported by naval ships, boats, and helicopters flash out suspected criminal elements in what the police is describing as an intensified war against crime across the country tonight. We will be live in two regions where separate swoops have rounded up more than 350 suspected criminals, with more swoops planned across the country. And Top Story is brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans. Your success, our passion, also brought to you by Gasem Cement, the nation builder. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. And tonight there is a nationwide clampdown on crime. It's part of a new strategy the police is launching. They're taking the fight to the doorsteps of criminals. That is a new stated joint police and military strategy that has today been playing out in the Western and Greater Accra regions. In the Western region, a total of 400 well-armed military and police officers supported by naval ships, boats and helicopters barged into homes of suspected criminals, rounding up 217 suspects. This was, we understand, it was an intelligence-led operation in an attempt to deal with the kidnapping, murder, and robbery cases that appears to be on the rise there in the Western region. There's a similar raid that also happened today in the Greater Accra region, to be Bujumburam to be very specific. There's a statement out tonight by the police that explains what has happened in the Greater Accra region. But I want you to first, I'll bring it to you shortly, what we are learning from the Deputy Western Regional Police Commander, Edmond Ohene Bosompeng, who has been providing details of the Western Regional raid a short while ago. I want to go to the Western region now. My colleague, Natalia Kwanzaa, is on the line with me. I think I've lost Ina on the line right now. But there's a statement from the police, and my colleague Gifty Ando-Apia has a copy of that, explaining what is happening tonight, both in Accra and the Western region, but also expected across the country as well tonight. What is the police saying, Gifty?
So this is how the police puts all of what you have just said. It's a statement dated the 12th of September 2019, and it says the media were the subject joint police military special exercise at Bujumbura. So it goes ahead to say, as part of efforts to ensure total security in the country, the Ghana Police Service and its security counterparts have intensified the war against crime by taking the fight to the doorsteps of criminals. It goes on to say that the preventive measures employed shall include cordon and search, swoops, intelligence-led operations, among others. Now, on the second point, it says that at the early hours of 12 September 2019, which is today, a similar exercise was conducted by the police with support from the Ghana Armed Forces at Budumburam near Kaswa in the central region. The third point says a total of 141 suspects, including 15 females and the rest of them males, were rounded up during the operation, and they were all brought to the police national headquarters for screening. And then it says those found culpable shall be taken through the legal processes. Finally, the statement from the police says that this process, this special exercise shall be replicated nationwide, and the public are therefore entreated to provide vital information to assist the police in fighting crime. It is signed off by the Police Public Affairs Directorate from the police headquarters, Accra. So Evans, as you said, what they are saying, they are calling the replication of this exercise nationwide. We've seen happen kidnapping in the Western region, from where Nathalia is supposed to give us some updates.
We're going to be narrowing down to the Greater Accra one shortly, which the police statement talks about. But I want to go to the Western region now. I wanted to listen to the Deputy Western Regional Police Commander, Edmund Ohenebo-Sompings, providing some details about the operation there, which appeared to be on a much wider scale compared to what we had in Accra. 400 personnel were deployed today, both from the military and the police. We expect also Navy and immigration as well, backed by naval boat ships, and also we are told helicopters. Listen to it.
The operation was supported by 1 Air Force helicopter, 1 naval ship, 2 naval boats, and 1 marine police boat. In recent times, there have been reported cases of kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, drug-related cases, and other offenses. Such cases are not only worrisome, but are also of great security concern. As law enforcement agencies, we have the mandate to ensure that people within the region are well protected.
Ina is on the line with me. Hello, Ina. Which areas did this particular swoop focus?
Yeah, so it was at the Abet, Bosomtwe, Sam Station Harbour, and European Town, both suburbs of Sekondi here in the Western region.
And we hear that they found some suspicious items.
Yes, Evans. So they found dried leaves they suspect to be Indian herbs. They found toffees suspected to be laced with narcotic substance, and alcoholic beverages also suspected to be laced with narcotic substance. They found quality of tablets the police suspect to be tramadol, 8 TV sets, 5 laptops, and 2 decoders. And they found some amount of money, over 2,000 Ghana cedis, and some condoms, which they believe that they use it for prostitution, because we had asked questions that is it wrong to find condoms on people, but the reply from ACP Edmond was that they were suspecting them to be engaged in prostitution somehow. So they believe that those condoms were not with them because they were using it in the right way.
I see. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk in the Western region because of the recent spate of kidnappings, particularly the 3 missing Tardy girls, and that came up as well, whether this was part of an attempt to deal with this. He mentions it, but he also explains that it isn't the case that the Western region is awash with kidnappings, correct?
Yes, Evan. So now we know that the girls are 4, not 3. After they retrieved the 4th skeleton, we know that the girls are 4. And there was an incident that we had posed a question about the safety of people, especially when it comes to the issue of kidnapping. But he replied that we shouldn't paint the picture as if that Western region is known for kidnapping. Let's take a listen to what he said.
Kidnapping is not, as good to say, an order of the day within the region. In all the kidnap cases we are reporting or talking about, there are 4. And our investigations have disclosed that the perpetrators, they had good rapport with them. They know them. So please come. I want to do this thing for you. You go, and that is all. All what we have to do is that we have to talk to our children and our sisters. Come and collect mobile phone. Do you know that person? What work have you done for that person to get a mobile phone? So the kidnapping we are talking about. We want to emphasize today that the region is not characterized by activities or incidents. We as parents, we also have a duty to ensure the safety of our children.
So he also announced today that this is not the end of it.
Yes, so he said they have identified some spots in the region, and so in the subsequent days they would be going to these places to make such swoops. He has also advised that if you know or you suspect anyone engaged in any criminal activity as a resident, you should report to any of the security agencies. And he has also cautioned landlords and landladies that they should have credible information about the tenants they house in, and especially with the businesses they do.
Ina, thank you very much for that update from the Western region. I had earlier mentioned that the second swoop happened in the Greater Accra region. No, that's an error. It was in the Central region, and very specifically in and around the Bujuburam refugee camp. We'll be interrogating whether it's still a refugee camp or a settlement shortly. But my colleague Maxwell Agbagba was there for us. What do we know of how the police and the soldiers carried out this operation?
Well, some of the residents who've been speaking to tell us that they started seeing the armed men sometime around 3 a.m. and some of them have reported that they started hearing knocks on their doors just around the same time. So what happened was that
what time is this?
Around 3 a.m. This is dawn. So some of them said they were a bit hesitant to actually open their doors because they were not they were unsure about the identities of the people knocking. But those who were able to open the door told us that when they opened, they saw police officers and then military men, and they told them about their mission in that community. They gave them access to their rooms and they searched all the rooms. So we are told that if they search a room and they find any contraband, material or a weapon, then you'll be put in the bed of their pickup vehicle. Many of them, some of them Operation Vanguard, vehicles. They put you in the bed and then with blaring sirens, they transport you quickly to Accra. We are told that even before the operation will start, the entry points and exit points of the entire Budumburam community was actually barricaded, and we were told that this is not just a part of Budumburam; it was the whole refugee camp Budumburam community that this exercise actually took place.
And residents there have been speaking to you. The person left a lot of them agitated. What have they been telling you?
Yes, some of them were concerned the way and manner they had to wake up at dawn. Some of them said they were still deep in sleep when the knock came, and they were forced to wake up. Some of them we've been speaking to, although they had issues, but they are excited because they themselves have described the place as a den, for criminals. In fact, they say there's a place in the community when you go there. In Chi, they call it Abunsam Jem. That's loosely translated as hell, and that's what they call the place because of the kind of activities that go on there. We can hear from them.
So what happened is that we are happy with what the police did. We are not against the police, but the only thing is that the police know who they are getting, who they want to arrest here in this vicinity. They need to ask the rightful person who knows this place. Like people like we've been here for a long time, for 29 years, who know about the camp. You understand? We came here from 1990, October 15, we've been here. So what they did, we don't have problem. We are okay with that. For me, I'm safe. I'm okay. There is nothing. I'm not worrying myself or anything. They need to come after every 2 weeks, one is their business. They need to come and tell every criminal because Liberians, they are not criminals. So they can come back again and do a search again. What they want to see, let them come again. The reason I'm happy, the 2 policemen they killed, it hurt me. You understand me? It hurt me. It hurt me in my soul up to now. Even in my bedroom, I feel it in my body and soul. So now, and that thing happens, they say, Goman Budumburam, who is Liberian camp, the guy who thing mess up. People will feel it's Liberian. And what will be challenged around that Liberians is the kind of person doing this kind of things in this vicinity. We've been here for a long time. We don't steal, we don't do anything. We don't criminate people. We know ourselves, you understand me? So I'm very happy that they come around, they do that search, and they see those, the one they know they are criminal, they take them. I think as I learned that the Liberians they took, they are not many. You understand me? There are a few Liberians, the rest are foreigners and other nationalities. I don't know.
Yeah, my name is Freeman.
Freeman what?
Freeman Cisse.
Freeman Cisse. Freeman, how long have you been in Ghana?
Oh, I've been here for almost 20 years now.
There are concerns that this place has become a place for criminals. You live here. Yes. What have you observed?
Yeah, the rumors that circulating is true. That's the fact. But equally so, most of the Liberians here, we are not involved into this kind of criminal activity. Going to kill police officer, going to arm rob. It's very difficult to find Liberians in this kind of major criminal activity.
So who are those involved in this?
There are those that came here just recently. Because after demolishing Ofatama, Nema, some areas that this guy came on the camp here, this causing problem for us here. For everything, most of them, they're not living on the camp. They live outside the camp, they come to transfer their businesses on the camp. Every time they misbehave, it will reflect on we the Liberian. Because as far as Ghanaian concerned, their camp is Liberian camp. For every crime that reported from this camp, the people will feel that they are Liberian are committing a crime. Okay. Which of course we are very distant from this kind of crime.
So So are you saying that your people are not involved in all the things that happen here, all the bad things that happen here?
No, you see, bad things happen here. Maybe somebody sell marijuana, somebody go to bust somebody's shop to take television. These are minor crimes that happen here. It's among everybody. Nobody is excluded from that. But we talk about major crime, going to arm rob, kill somebody on the scene, go and kill police officer, go and kill chief. These are now our era.
Yeah. But the concern is that some of your people are actually harboring these criminals. They've given them rooms to sleep.
Yeah, the room issue on this camp. Let me tell you, my brother, was on the camp, all the hotels on the camp, 90% were built by us. You understand? After living here for almost 10, 15 years, during the repatriation, they gave somebody $5 for repatriation. With 50 kilos, you are restricted to 50 kilos. After living here for 15 years, how can you go with $5 US with 50 kilos? Why are you going to carry it? So some people were obliged to sell the horses to add the money or to buy one or two things for themselves to go and start left on the other side. So that's why you see when we sold the horses to some of the Ghanaians, that how we accommodated some of them in. But we never do the attitude.
This is from the community. There are already calls for the community to be demolished.
Exactly, and I spoke to the president of the Liberian community in Ghana, Reverend Father Eddie Hennings, and he was telling me that call is misplaced. He says there are a lot of crimes happening in other areas, but we've not called for the demolition of those places. And he thinks that the best way to deal with crime is to take out the bad elements. In fact, he agrees that yes, some Liberians are engaged in crime, but he says they only engage in pilfering. They only steal things of small value, not armed robbery and other things.
And I need to cut into this because there's some developing stories, some news just coming in right now of another swoop by the police and military, this time in Tamale. And my colleague Martina Bugri is following that story for us tonight. Martina, this is just coming in the last few minutes. I understand. What do we know of this joint military and police swoop in Tamale?
What we gather is that 18 people were arrested. They have noted some areas that these criminals are harbored, and they mentioned T-Poly, Calendar, among some other areas, as areas that are noted for criminal activities. This is where those criminals go to hide. And so a joint military team and police team were there to raid the area, and 18 people were arrested. They ran and left motorbikes, and so these 8 motorbikes were retrieved from the area. They also found quantities of dry leaf suspected to be marijuana at the area, and so these things were picked. What we gather is that the police, they are currently in detention, and the police is investigating the matter. But the police is also appealing to people in the region and the metropolis to support the police with information on issues of criminal activities, so that they'll be able to raid the city of these criminals to ensure the area is safe for people to live in harmony.
And from what I'm hearing, this was focused in areas known to be hubs for criminals, places called Kaladan and Gushinyayili. What do we know of these areas?
For T-Poly, we have had criminal activities there. We have had issues of gunfighting there some time ago. Calendar is also noted for some of these criminal activities. And it's not surprising that the police have noted these areas as well, and they are working on these places.
Martina, thank you very much. That's just breaking in Tamale right now, with the latest swoop happening there. And the police issued a statement to say already that this is the new strategy they are embarking on. They call it taking the fight to the doorsteps of criminals, intensifying the war against crime. And it's a preventive approach. Instead of waiting for the crime to happen before they step in, they want to be proactive. And so we're going to see a lot of these swoops across the country. Already we are reporting 3 massive swoops already, the biggest in the western region, where 400 men armed, supported by speedboats, naval ships, boats and helicopters, arrested more than 200 people. Now we're hearing Tamale as well. I want to quickly go onto the phone lines and speak to Mr. Tetepali, who is the programs coordinator with the Ghana Refugees Board, just to clarify the situation with the Bujumbura camp where the swoop in the central region happened this dawn. Mr. Paddy, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Good evening, everyone.
Please clarify for me, how do we classify the camp? Is it still a camp or is it a settlement now?
We now refer to it as a settlement. And that is because most of the people there, most of the Liberians there are no longer refugees. Many of them opted to locally integrate into Ghanaian society. And so they were assisted to obtain documentation for them to live legally in Ghana. And so currently we have just around 1,000 or so persons of concern. We refer to them as persons of concern. A few of them, about 600, are still refugees. And that is because they were exempted from the cessation clause that basically ended most of the Liberian refugees, their refugee status. And so, yes, we refer to it as a settlement rather than a refugee camp.
Okay, but we still have. I'm surprised to hear tonight about what the police suspect to be a lot of criminal activity happening within that settlement. But I still know that you still have a permanent base there. Why is that? Because if it's a settlement, I thought then that will be just like any other normal Ghanaian settlement. Can you explain that dynamic for me?
Yes, that is correct. The reason why we still have a presence on the camp is that we still have, as I said, a number of refugees there, and it's our responsibility, the responsibility of the refugee board, to ensure that their rights are not trampled upon and that they're protected. And so the reason why we still have presence on the camp. But having said that, the board has set up a committee to determine the way forward with the Bujumbura lands. In fact, the committee was set up before Bujumbura became a topic recently again. The idea or the intention is for the committee to come up with recommendations as to what to do with the land, knowing very well that we don't operate it as a refugee camp fully any longer. And so even though we have persons of concern there, the committee, the subcommittee of the board, is expected to come up with recommendations on the way forward, whether to hand it over to government, whether to hand it over to some persons who may have been considered as the original owners, or whatever recommendation that the committee will come up with. And the report is expected by the end of this month.
Mr. Paddy, I'm grateful for your time here on Top Story. That's Tete Paddy. He is the programs coordinator with the Ghana Refugees Board. Clarify things for us with the refugee. Well, he says this is now a Bujumbura settlement, but they are already set up a committee to try and look at what to do with that land, which was originally set aside to host our friends from Liberia as a refugee camp. Well, as I've just been speaking, there's another developing story right now breaking in the Upper West region, still related to crime. There is a 35-year-old man has just been shot dead, another severely wounded in a suspected armed robbery attack. Rafiq Salam is a man following that story for us, and he's on the line with me. Hello, Rafiq. What do we know?
Hello.
What more do we know?
The incident happened at Boro, on the buffer zone. They call the no man's land between Ghana and Burkina Faso. Boro is located in Burkina Faso, and Fielmo is also located in the Sisala West region, Sisala West of the Upper West region. So what actually happened was that there's this man called Kir Sien. He took his friend, was taking his friend to Burkina Faso. Upon reaching a section of the road talking about Ghana's no man buffer zone with Burkina Faso, that was where he was allegedly shot, and then he didn't die on the spot. He was taken to the hospital at Nandom, the St. Teresa's Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. But his pillion rider, his friend that he was taken to Boro in Burkina Faso, also sustained serious injuries on the left leg. And so that is the situation at Felmo. But as I speak to you now, the man who was pronounced dead was laid in state and has since been buried at Felmo.
I guess that's according to the Islamic tradition?
Yes.
Okay, I'm grateful, Rafiq.
No,
Thank you.
according to the customs and traditions of the people
All
here.
the people there. Thank you very much,
More.
Rafiq, for that quick update there. Let me bring in Adams Bonar, security analyst with the Security Warehouse Limited, chief executive there. Mr. Bonar, what do you make of this new police military strategy that they say in their statement is one that is designed to take the fight against crime to the doorsteps of criminals? We are already reporting 3 different, I don't know whether they are coordinated, but in 3 different regions. Western region where the biggest happened, the central region, and now Tamale. And as we've been promised, more to come. What do you make of this?
Yes, good evening to your listeners. Evans, for me, well, I would say swoops, police swoops, so security swoops, is one of the very old, or archaic methods of, getting criminals or trying to fish out, bad, elements amongst, who are amongst us in society. And so, for me, I would have rather wanted to see more intelligence-based or led operations.
And in their statement, they actually say that this is going to be intelligence-led operations.
Well, if it's going to be intelligence-led operations, then you don't need suits. Intelligence-based operations, you don't go in as if you are entering a war zone where you have a detachment of police or military. They move into the zone, cordon off the area, arrest everybody, and move out. No. For intelligence-based operations, you know who you want to arrest, and so you go after, you do pinpoint arrest. But with this, most often you have 80% or 90% of those who are rounded up are innocent, and some of them, which, the facts are available, were rounded up and ended up in Insaum on remand for 13, 14 years. This is, for me, I think that if you take, for instance, the one that took place around the Nyanyano, Kasua, Budumburam Liberian camp area, why can't we have a more permanent approach to dealing with the canker of crime within the vicinity? So, for instance, Evans, you have a situation where the available statistics shows that instead of 1 to 500, which is supposed to be police to police citizen ratio, international accepted ratio, we have about an average of 1 to 900. If you go to the Nyanyano area, you have 1 police officer to 2,000, citizens. And so if you have this, which is about 4 times the international accepted average, then you are going to have a more permanent canker of crime within the area. And so for me, now they've retreated. The police and the military who went in and arrested this, they've retreated. What happens? And so let's have more pragmatic, more intelligence-based operation instead of this knee-jerk approach in fighting crime. We have, so what happens on our highways, Evans? Every now and every day you hear highway robberies on our highways. Are we going to conduct swoops on the highways? Does the police actually have a philosophy? They don't have a policing philosophy. They don't, what is the vision of the police? For me, I want to see solution-based,
But isn't this part of the solution? From what you're saying, and if I read a statement, it appears you're combining all the tools in your box. So they're looking at include cordon and search, swoops, intelligence-led operations. It's going to be all the factors that you would anticipate a police or any security agency will have, which they're going to throw at the criminals, which we've seen. And so if you know a hub where criminals, fester, you go in there, disrupt them, arrest them, you can get a few that you can successfully prosecute, and then later you come with intelligence-led and pinpoint. Can't you have that combination, that mix?
You can have the combination, but you do first things first. For me, it's almost as if they have identified locations and they are swooping in on this location. What some of us, or I am saying, is that why can't we have the Police Intelligence Bureau? They now have the intelligence unit. Why can't we have that intelligence unit? When it was formed under Apietu, that unit almost got rid of 99% of the bad people. Now I don't know what the unit is doing. And so we are now beginning to have, a lot of swoops as they are telling us today. Yes, If they are going to do, if it's going to be intelligence-based, the better. But I tell you, I mean, how long can they do this? Are they going to be doing this every day? Because they will get there when the criminals have vanished. And therefore, for me, this is one of the solutions. But I want to see a more permanent solution to dealing with the canker of crime. You cannot deal with crime as if you are fighting in a war. But this mentality of soup is usually done in war tones and so let's deal with crimes using crime-based solutions.
Well, I'm grateful that you joined us with your thoughts. That is Adam Bona, Chief Executive of the Security Warehouse Limited. There's more on this as it's still unfolding in parts of the country. When we get the latest action from the military and the police, we'll bring it to you. Newsnight starts right now.